Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I warmly welcome all academics, researchers, undergraduates, and postgraduate students, policymakers, agricultural practitioners, entrepreneurs, and industry stakeholders who have joined us today with a shared interest in sustainable agriculture, entrepreneurship, and inclusive economic development. Welcome to the public webinar titled Empowering Women Entrepreneurs, Building Ethical and Sustainable Agricultural Businesses. This webinar is organized by the Agriculture and Forestry Section B of SLAS, Sri Lanka Association for Advancement of Science. We are privileged to have Professor Shashithanganee Weerawansa as our distinguished resource person today. She is a professor in economics at University of Colombo with over 2 decades of experience in academia, research, and policy engagement. She holds a PhD and MA in economics from University of Colombo and MBA from the Postgraduate Institute of Management, University of Sri Jawadarpura, and a BA Special in Economics from University of California. Her expertise spans international trade, development economics, and entrepreneurship, with a strong research focus on women entrepreneurship, SME development, and inclusive economic growth. We are indeed honored to have her with us this evening to share her insights on this highly relevant and impactful topic. Over to you, madam.
Hi, good evening, everyone. So thank you for the introduction and, of course, the opportunity to make this presentation at SLAS. So I'm Shashithanganee Weerawansa from the Department of Economics of the University of Colombo. So today I will discuss how we can empower women entrepreneurs in Sri Lanka's agricultural sector through ethical and sustainable approaches. So I will try to integrate insights from ethical and sustainable business practices into entrepreneurship in agricultural sector and try to examine how women can be empowered to reach their full potential. So my aim is to move beyond theory towards actionable framework by analyzing this topic also through a general analytical tool. So I believe we all should use before we do something. That is, why we do what we do. Once we know what we have to do and why we do them, we can find out how and when we do them. So in this topic, I will focus on what we do part first, and then we'll try to expand on why we do them. So what we do, that is empower. Empower who? Basically, women entrepreneurs building ethical and sustainable agricultural business. So in order to do this, we have to first know what are the agricultural businesses. That's the last part of the topic. And what is meant by ethical and sustainable means. And then who are women entrepreneurs and why are we particularly talking about not just entrepreneurs. When we say entrepreneurs, it can be men, women, anyone. But why particularly women entrepreneurs? So let's start with agricultural business. So when you think of agricultural business, you would mainly think of like crop farming, such as paddy, rice, vegetables in Nuwara Bandarawela, or fruits like banana, mangoes, papaya, and export crops like gherkin. And the same thing when we globally think, it can be different types of grain, wheat, corn, rice, fruits and vegetables, or it can be oil crops like soybean, palm oil. So then we have another category called plantation agriculture, which we are quite familiar with: tea, rubber, coconut, cinnamon, and other spices. And then globally, when we think of that, it's about sugar canes, then coffee, cocoa. Then we have another category that's livestock, dairy and poultry farming. And globally, this is a very big business: dairy, poultry, beef, pig farming. I think, as you all know, that the India, our closest country, is the third or the fourth producer of beef producer in the world. And they are the #1 exporter of beef and buffalo meat, though it has the highest density of vegetarians in the world. So then we have another category that is fisheries and aquaculture, inland fisheries, ornamental fish exports, shrimp farms, and then globally these things can come as like fish, shrimps, lobster, and seaweed farming. So all these fall into the production aspect of the business. Well, what are the other aspects are there? Now just think about the process a farmer has to go through. They need seeds, planting material, fertilizer, agrochemicals, machinery, irrigation systems, and technical solutions to problems. Not only that, animal feed, veterinary products. So the list can go on. So supplying those necessities is another aspect of agricultural business. Now in Sri Lanka, we have big companies such as Haley's Agriculture, CIC Agribusiness, then Brown's Group, as well as there are quite a lot of small players who are providing these goods and or these products and services. So now think about other agricultural products we see in the market other than the raw produce that come out of the farm. The tea we drink comes out of the tea factories, and then we use coconut oil, powdered spices, or the paste. Then we have canned or packaged or refrigerated or frozen products. So supplying those services is another aspect of agricultural business. So how do these products get to the market? Well, that is where the distributors and marketeers come in, including the contract farming supply networks of supermarket chains. Now, we are quite familiar with exporters, wholesalers, big markets such as Dambulla Economic Center, and there are many economic centers around the country, then Manning Market, Paliagoda Fish Market. So that is where all the distribution, marketing take place. Then what kind of other services are expected by farmers? So we have for farmers, they can do soil testing, training, machinery rentals, and then in terms of technological support services, greenhouse farming, smart irrigation, hydroponics, then precision farming, mobile labs. Then there are management software for farmers, and then for big lands, you may have seen drone services for fertilizing and for watering and things like that. And then in addition to all that, they have to manage accounting and finance. So these are all part and parcel of agricultural businesses. So you probably don't now remember the topic. It was empowering women entrepreneurs, building ethical and sustainable agricultural businesses. So this aspect is one essential component of the ethical and sustainable part of the business. Though some may not see agritourism. So this is another addition, new addition, agritourism and as an aspect of agricultural businesses. I would like to include that in agricultural as well as the tourism sector. This, irrespective of whether you're a large-scale estate or a small farmer, not only works as an additional income, but also will be motivating factor for keeping up with all the environmental and sustainable guidelines and for maintaining the aesthetic value of the farm at the highest level at all times. So a farm's beauty is not just decorative. It is deeply tied to its functionality, the perceived care of the land, and the harmonious, often sustainable relationship between humans and nature. So therefore, an architect with a good knowledge of agricultural need of the particular farm and a good understanding of the area's geography would be able to provide proper guidance to create a unique experience for the tourist visiting that farm. I'm sure you have seen a lot of YouTube videos where we see this type of business, agri-tourism business, which is quite popular nowadays. So just to give you an example, here is an advertisement I received today in the morning to my WhatsApp. So they are selling plots of land, like sounds like an old tea estate, highlighting the possibilities of agrotourism. So if one has money to invest, one can in fact use this type of land to develop an agrotourism business where the visitors can have an authentic rural farming and cooking experience and even enjoy a meal prepared using fresh produce from the farm itself. So this can also be an opportunity to provide employment and training for local women who have a passion for agriculture but don't have money to invest for a big land on their own. So here is an example of another entrepreneur, that's agrobusiness tourism. That's in Uganda. And that's an agribusiness and tourism development company that offers a wide range of services and agribusinesses and tourism. So let me see whether I can take you through that. Can you see the pictures? So this is Agrotourism Association. That's some pictures from Uganda. Can you all see the pictures, please?
Yes, we can.
We can see.
Right. See. So this is about climate change adaptation and livelihood improvements, and there are many programs for that. And then action research on apples in dry areas, and then youth in agribusiness skill development programs, and then you have craft production to enhance biodiversity conservation. And then, so when we say agricultural business, we would be able to place them mainly in 5 categories as A, B, C, D, E. A means upstream. That is where the business provides the initial goods and services to start a farm. Then we have farm level with businesses engaging in very act of farming. Then you have midstream, that is about where the raw produce coming out of the farm converted into what the end user would like to have. And then we have downstream, where the businesses will help the farmer or the middleman or who has the finished product in hand to sell it to the highest bidder. And then the last category, the 5th category, is the support and innovation, will help the farmer to get the highest return on investment while staying within the ethical and sustainable guidelines, perhaps even making an extra income through agritourism if they want to do so. So as you can see, the business categories here, C, D, E, are all important players of value addition process of the complete value chain from the farmer to our dinner table. So now let me remind you again about our topic, empowering women entrepreneurs, building ethical and sustainable agricultural businesses. So as you can see then, entrepreneurs can enter this value chain at any one of the 5 stages, depending on their expertise, passion, and accessibility to resources needed. So since we want specifically to focus on women entrepreneurs, I would like to mention here that in Sri Lanka, women are especially active in the midstream, that's C category, and downstream, that's D, especially informally. Quite often they are involved, C and D, informally. So I will revisit this statement after I take through some of the other words in our topic. So now let's try to understand, since you have a bit of understanding what agricultural businesses are, now let's try to understand who an entrepreneur. So there is no clear-cut definition to say, okay, this is an entrepreneur. But broadly speaking, an entrepreneur can be described as a person who identifies or creates an opportunity. They see the opportunities in the market. Then they can mobilize resources, assume risk, and organizes innovation to generate value. Maybe the value in terms of economic, social, or environmental. So one might even have a bit more formal approaches to describe entrepreneurs. So taking a more formal yet a gender neutral approach, one might say an entrepreneur is an individual or a group that innovatively organizes resources under conditions of uncertainty to exploit opportunities and create value. So they always try to create a value. They see, okay, in marketing we call UPS. That's unique USP, sorry, unique selling proposition. So I should give something unique to my consumers where my competitors do not have. So they see opportunities in the market and also they create value. So now you should have an idea about what we mean by the phrase women entrepreneurs in agricultural sector. Women entrepreneur in agricultural is a woman who identifies opportunities within agricultural value chain and then mobilizes resources, take calculated risk, and create sustainable economic and social value through innovation and enterprise. So let me break it down to next level by focusing on some of these characteristics mentioned in these definitions. So as I said, a woman entrepreneur in agriculture is a woman who identifies opportunities. Yes, identifying or creating opportunities. Entrepreneurs do not merely respond to existing demand. They often recognize unmet needs. What are the gaps in the market? And or sometimes they imagine the new possibilities, maybe not now, maybe to have it in 5 years, 10 years. Because if you look into entrepreneurs like Navaloka Mudalali, Dasa Mudalali, Siddhalepa Mudalali, those who came in the 60s, 1970s, I mean, they, had a very long, big vision. So it is not maybe not for now. And also they are able to mobilize resources. Entrepreneurs are the people who bring land, labor, capital, technology, networks, knowledge, everything together. And also they take risk and uncertainty, where when I work for a company, I don't take that risk. So entrepreneurs involve acting under uncertainty and capitalizing on certain risk factors where most others avoid. And also they value the values they generate, sometimes maybe in terms of economic, like generating more profits or contributing to the economic growth, or it can be even environmental in terms of sustainability, or it can be even social, that's generating more employment opportunities or empowerment, or even it can be ethical, like, or spiritual, looking into the well-being of people, or say somebody is totally vegan, not eating meat or fish. So then maybe you think of, giving all the nutrients through plant-based products. So innovative when they are also innovative when enterprise, they are basically innovative when they have enterprising thinking. So entrepreneurs engage in new combinations, new products, processes, markets, or business models. So now I hope you have a fairly good idea about what one has to do to be identified as an entrepreneur. So, a part of empowering someone to be an entrepreneur is to guide them to find their own paths or cultivating these qualities within them. So, we need to especially empower women. So, in the process of empowering someone to be an entrepreneur, then we have to guide them to find their own path of cultivating these characteristics within themselves. So, having understood the role of an entrepreneur, let's see whether you can think of someone in Sri Lanka or anywhere else in the world for that matter who would fall into the category of women entrepreneurs. Well, I know most of you all have heard about or know that Miss Otara Gunawardena is considered as the topmost female entrepreneur, a female entrepreneur in Sri Lanka, whose main business was retail chain of Odell clothing stores. So this basically falls into the category D, the downstream distribution, retail, export category. And then we have Aban Pestanji, founder and chairperson of the Abans Group, one of the Sri Lanka's best known business empires. And then you have heard about Ramani Fernando salons, pioneers in Sri Lanka's beauty and wellness industry. So our women have excelled in different fields. And in addition to that, if you look at the world, there are a lot of global icons. Just I have mentioned very few under different categories here. Under business and innovation, I have given Sarah Blakely, who turned $5,000 into $1 billion shapewear brand. That's a Spinax brand. And then Whitney Wolf Herd built a women first dating platform, youngest female CEO to go public. And then under media and influence, we have heard about Oprah Winfrey, who had a very pathetic childhood and teenage period. But later on, she created global media empire and influential personal brand, Oprah Winfrey. And then fashion and beauty, there are a lot of women, but Rihanna, quite famous, revolutionized inclusivity in beauty with Fenty brands. And then under sustainability and social impact, Jessica Matthews, who innovates renewable energy solutions. So I have given very few names, but if you just Google, you will find thousands in the world. So, so women entrepreneurs are not just business leaders; they are change makers of other humanity, shaping economies, societies, and the future. So, having seen various opportunities in agricultural business sector, let's see whether you can think of someone in Sri Lanka or anywhere else in the world, for that matter, who would fall into the category of a woman entrepreneurs in agricultural business. So I have someone from, I've just found a Sri Lankan woman featured in UN Sustainable Development Goals website, who falls into category C and D. Category C is midstream, where she does processing, packaging, storage, and also downstream distribution, retail, and export categories of the sector. So let's see whether we can see this picture. I hope you can see the. Is
Yeah,
it
we can
visible?
see. We can see.
Right. So this is about United Nations Sustainable Development Group. Once you go through the links, you can read everything. But just to inspire, to show like, you know, how our women have excelled. This is Business for the Better. Sri Lankan women entrepreneurs lead sustainable social enterprises, right? So she's Gina Chekanthi, 38 years, has been self-employed for 2 years, selling processed local herbs and vegetables under her own brand Good Life Products in Mana, northern Sri Lanka. So Gina says that she started this business to be self-reliant and to create a healthy society, which is with a lot of good intention. But what is more interesting here is it was my mother and grandmother that gave me this idea to start a business. Ever since, my husband and my 3 children have been supporting me every step of the way. So now what you can see is sometimes we think, okay, all the business ideas in the world, like, where am I to find a business idea? But I must say, all the good ideas may be rattling in your head, and all the good ideas are yet to come. So now her mother and the grandmother, the business idea has basically come from the mother and the grandmother. So what does this depict? Where the mother and the grandmother also had this entrepreneurial knack, the entrepreneurial sense. So I'm not going to go through everything. The last bit. So I have only one thing to tell women like me who plan to start a business. Don't think you need a large investment. And this is one big mistake most of us do. And we think we have to be perfect before we do anything. We have to be perfect and we have to have a lot of money. No. Make use of the resources around you. As for the men in their life, I ask them to please support these women. And if you cannot, at least don't trouble them. Now, this gives a very powerful message. As for the men in their life, I ask them to please support these women. And if you cannot, at least don't trouble them. So, why we have particularly chosen the topic women entrepreneurs, because we see now there's a problem. Now in Sri Lanka, mostly, the majority of women don't get the support from the men, not even from their extended families. So I'm not talking about the men in the audience. I'm not talking about them. So I'm sure they are not in that category. But there is, there's something not really right. So her determination, looking towards the future, Gina has big dreams for her business. Within the next 10 years, I'm working towards making Good Life Products one of the top businesses in Sri Lanka. I believe it will happen. So that shows her determination. And then there is another Sri Lankan woman who would say falls into category D, downstream. That's distribution, retail, export. And E, support, innovation, technology, consulting, tourism, sustainability categories. If you look at the paths these two women have taken, you can see how important it is to have a good understanding about one's liking and available resources and whether the environment one is living is conducive to the journey one is dreaming of. So let me share. I hope you can see. So this is about Haley's agriculture. And I just want to show, now there are some women. Now we were just talking about Gina Jayakanti. who was just making use of the available resources. But in contrast, we have women like Mrs. J. Dharmasena, the managing director, who has just gone to the highest level in the corporate ladder in Haley's agriculture. So that is another part of the business, managing agriculture. Then there are women like Sarah Ferry from the United States, who would in fact really fit into the real picture we create in our minds as a true agricultural entrepreneur, who was born into a poor farming family and become a millionaire through her entrepreneurial skills. So let's see whether we can see a little bit about Sarah Frey. A very interesting story. You can read more about her in Wikipedia. Can you all see this?
Yes, we can see.
All good things begin on the farm. And the story, her beginning is very humble and very sad. But today she's a millionaire and the biggest pumpkin producer in the United States, who is supplying pumpkins to uh, the big supermarket chains like what is the biggest supermarket chain in the US? Can someone please tell me?
Walmart.
Walmart. So she's supplying pumpkins to the Walmart. Yes. Sharing our love for the farm with you. So that's our story. It is our vision to bring our love of the farm to all families. Whether it is one of our farm growing pumpkins, watermelons, or one of our beverages juiced from our produce, we want you to enjoy the very best. We hope you can kick back, relax, and share in our love for delicious fruits and vegetables, Sarah's homegrown. So, if you read her story, she has started her business when she was 15, where the whole family business has gone bankrupt. The sharing our love of the farm with you. The youngest of 21 children, Sarah Frey grew up on a struggling farm in southern Illinois. At 15, she started her own fresh produce delivery business out of an old pickup truck. 2 years later, she took over the family farm and started doing business with the largest grocery retailers in the country. Ferry's story is one of never giving up. Now, this is one of the other qualities that we see in entrepreneurs. They never give up. Negotiating with some of the biggest businesses in the nation and building a company which serves consumers with fresh, healthy products. So, Frey Farms is the nation's leading producer of pumpkins, earning Frey the nickname America's Pumpkin Queen. So that's Sarah Frey. So I just want to share how women have excelled in different fields. So sky is not the limit for them. And then we have Vandana Shiva, who is an Indian scholar, an environmental activist, food sovereignty advocate, and eco-feminist, and anti-globalization author based in Delhi. So Shiva has written more than 20 books, and she is often referred to as Gandhi of grain because of for her activism against genetically modified food products. So now let's see other words that we have in the topic. So we saw that what we mean by agricultural business and who are entrepreneurs. Now, what about the other words? Now we have ethical and sustainable. I'm sure you all know the two words mean in general terms, but in the world of an entrepreneur in the agricultural business sector, what do we really mean? So it is the time to get serious about moral aspects of the social implications of decision making in organizations. Now, when we take decision organizations, they have to perform high goals, but whatever you do, whatever the business you do, you have to achieve your goals through ethical and socially responsible means. So what do you mean by ethical behavior? So ethics can be defined as the code of moral principles that set standards of good or bad or right or wrong in a person's conduct and thereby guides the behavior of that person or group. So these principles guide behavior and help people make moral choices among alternative courses of action. In practice, ethical behavior is that which is accepted to be good, right and proper, or opposed to bad or wrong or improper in the context of the governing moral code. So most ethical problems in the workplace arise when people are asked to do or find themselves about to do something that violates the dictates of their conscience. For some people, if the act is legal, they proceed with confidence. Now, for an example, I'm teaching at the Colombo University. Let's say I have a plot of land somewhere closer to the university, and then well, it's my own land. And then if I have the license to start a liquor shop, I can do it. It is legal. But then you have to think whether this is ethical. So for some, ethical test goes beyond the legality of the action alone. So the ethical question extends to personal values, the underlying beliefs and attitudes that help determine individual behavior. So to the extent that values vary among people, we can expect different interpretations of what behavior is ethical or unethical in a given situation. So ethical entrepreneurship goes beyond compliance. It involves fairness, responsibility, and long-term thinking. And then we have the other word, sustainability. And what do you mean by sustainability? Now, ethics, of course, අපි කියනවා ආචාර ධර්ම කියලා. Sustainability අපි කියනවා තිරසාර බව කියලා. So sustainability is we usually say that we have to satisfy our current needs without compromising the ability of the future generations to meet their needs. So although there is agreement about the need for sustainability, there is great debate about the best path to take organizations forward. So sustainability results from activities that extend the productive life of organizations and maintain high levels of corporate performance. And also sustainability results maintain decent levels of welfare for present and future generation. And also sustainability results enhance society's ability to maintain its or to solve major problems that the society faces. And also sustainability enhance the planet's ability to maintain and renew the biosphere and protect all living species. So rather than reducing productivity and profits, an increasing number of organizations are discovering that embracing sustainability can actually enhance these outcomes. Some organizations are even pursuing a goal of zero emissions, that is, eliminating all waste or recycling it. Through eliminating waste, recycling, and developing environmentally friendly production processes, products, and services, it is possible to reduce the footprint of our activities on the planet. So, sustainable agricultural practices like agroecology and crop diversification, they reduce risk and improves resilience, and also soil and water conservation are critical, especially in the Sri Lankan context. And these practices also reduce dependency on costly external inputs. Right. So when we talk about sustainable practices in agriculture, what comes into our head is environmental sustainability. But what we got to understand, sustainability comes in different forms. It can be social sustainability, which is related to social responsibility. So it's important to remember that all organizations exist in a very complex relationships with the elements in the external environment, political, economic, social, technological, environmental. So very complex. So an important frame of reference is the field of organizational stakeholders. Stakeholders are those people, groups, and other organizations directly affecting the behavior of the organization and holding a stake in its performance. So in this context, corporate social responsibility is defined as an organization to act in ways, rather an obligation of the organization to act in a way that serve both its own interest and the interest of many external stakeholders. So the organization stakeholders comprising government, competitors, shareholders, customers, employees, civil society, suppliers, pressure groups, and regulators. So sustainability can come in environmental, social, and economic. Well, what else is left? The two words empowering and women. We know who women entrepreneurs are. We learned about a little bit about agricultural businesses. We learned a little bit about ethical and sustainable, what sustainable and ethical means. And then who women entrepreneurs. Now it's about empowering women entrepreneurs. We know who women entrepreneurs. So to understand the topic better, let's try to see why we especially have to focus women entrepreneurs in agricultural businesses instead of just entrepreneurs in agricultural businesses. So because when we say entrepreneurs, as I've said earlier, it can be men or women. Empowering, of course, means making the environment within which they live and do their businesses entrepreneur friendly. Or it simply means providing solution to the specific problems that they face, especially due to their gender identity. Now we look at the other half of the analysis. That is why we do what we do. More than half of the Sri Lankan population are women. Yet the labor force, that is people who are between 15 to say 60 or 65, the labor force participation of women is around 31%, 31, 32%. So what that means is that about, say, 32% of women in the age category between 16 to 65 or 64 who are considered as the people who are mentally and physically fit to work are working for wages. So that means some 60, maybe 68 odd is inactive. Maybe they are involved in different types of work, but not in wage earning activities. So this has become a huge problem, especially when it comes to level of education. their level of education is about 67 point, almost 68%, but contribution to the GDP, to the gross domestic production, is about 32%. Not the contribution, the labor force participation, sorry. Labor force participation is about 32%. Because many women are concentrated in maybe informal sectors, or they are in agriculture, or they are in MSMEs, that's micro, small, medium enterprises. So now what we see here is, as a result, there's, as a country, this resource is underutilized its economic potential. So women are not marginal actors. They are central to production, processing, and also distribution. So their role directly affects household nutrition and intergenerational welfare. Because if you take the woman, or the mother is the one who decides all the nutrients or the meals in the family, majority. And then intergenerational, they think of their parents and their children welfare. So, but structural inequalities, even that is the case, yet we find structural inequalities continues, especially in land ownership and access to finance. Now take land ownership. Now, there are quite a few females here, and all of you. Now your land, the house that you live, to whom does it belong to? It's mainly, most of our lands, houses, is in the name of the father, the husband, or the male. So as a result, when a woman wants to go and get a loan to have finance, they have no collaterals. So there is an issue. So they have a lack of access to finance. And there is an issue with land ownership as well. So as you can see, most, if not all, of these problems are unique to women, not only in Sri Lanka, but also all over the world. But I suppose this part of the world, you have more issues for women, maybe because of the culture and other related issues. So therefore, empowering women is not just a social goal. It is an economic and sustainability imperative. And a lot of women face many problems as entrepreneurs. I have listed some of the problems because they are quite new to entrepreneurial roles. And in our education system, during school or even universities, how many of us learn about entrepreneurship, inculcating entrepreneurial skills? Very few. Whether you're a doctor, engineer, you should not be thinking of working for the government. You should think of, starting your own business. But what is in our mind is to work for someone else. And then as a result, we tend to create a lot of issues. Now, economically, if you take the government, since the private sector, or since we have lack of entrepreneurs in the country, the government has to keep creating jobs, generating jobs. Now, government is not a job generator. Government is just a facilitator. So what happens is, when government start generating, giving jobs, rather, not generating, giving jobs, we see most of these places are overstaffed, unproductive, loss-making, and also you can't just throw people away, and you have to keep giving them the salaries and wages, which is a huge expenditure of the government. And when we don't have revenue to meet that expenditure, government has to either print money or borrow money, which has a lot of consequences. And we have been actually facing these things in the recent past. So especially for women, there's societal discrimination, lack of networking connections, balancing, she has to balance the business and the family, because she may get less support from the others. And lack of access to credit, limited land ownership. So the list can go on. Sri Lanka's agriculture is dominated by smallholders. productivity is often input driven rather than knowledge driven. And there can be again climate variability and potential political and economic uncertainties. And then there are a lot of risk factors. So these conditions disproportionately affect women. So their work is often unpaid or undervalued. So policy frameworks do not adequately address these gendered realities. In Sri Lanka, policies often prioritize yield over sustainability, and gender considerations are weak or in most cases non-existent. So there is also fragmentation across institutions. So if you look at sustainable agricultural opportunities for women, there are many. There's organic farming, where there's a huge demand globally for organic products, and then reduces chemical usage and it's eco-friendly. And then when it comes to home gardening, urban agriculture, there's improve food security, income generation, suitable for small lands, because nowadays most of the lands are fragmented. So home gardening, urban agriculture is quite conducive. And then floriculture, which gives high value export potential, and there's proven success among women entrepreneurs, this kind of floriculture. And then there is dairy production, value-added products like yogurt, cheese. And then there's agro-processing, food packaging, spices, food-based products. So there are a lot of related agricultural businesses. So a part of empowering women, women to be entrepreneurs is to guide them to find their own path of cultivating these following qualities within them. So if you look at entrepreneurs, usually they have special attributes, the characteristics. Vision and goal orientation, and then they see opportunities others miss and set clear long-term goals. Now, for an example, a person like Oprah Winfrey built a global brand from a talk show into a media empire. And then entrepreneurs think differently and they create unique solutions or products. For an example, Sarah Blakely invented a shapewear within a simple but powerful idea that's Spanx. Where the jeans that she was wearing, the jeans that we usually wear for sports, those days it just used to get rolled up. It does not get fitted well. So so she came up with the idea shapewear. And also the entrepreneurs are willing to take calculated risk despite uncertainty. They are not reckless, but strategic and informed risk-taking. So they persist through failures, setbacks, and criticisms, yet make timely and effective decisions, often under pressure. So ability to analyze situations quickly, and they also can act confidently. They can identify what really market needs. So they just change. They adjust themselves to changing market needs, and then technologies and the customer needs. And what we see is even customer needs are continuously changing. And for an example, now Rihanna successfully moved from music to global business. I'm just referring to the same the women entrepreneurs that I just used in my previous slides. So the entrepreneurs inspire, manage, and build strong teams. Good entrepreneurs don't work alone. They create ecosystems. So they clearly communicate ideas to investors, employees, and to customers, which is essential for pitching, networking, and branding. So they are good communicators. So they understand cost, profit, sustainability, not necessarily accounts, but they are financially smart. So modern entrepreneurs focus on sustainability and social impact. Now, the example that I gave, Vandana Shiva promotes ethical and sustainable agriculture. So we find, I have listed some of the characteristics of entrepreneurs, but you may not see all these features in one, or maybe, but you will see most of these features. Right. Then, what are the benefits of entrepreneurship? So, if you become an entrepreneur, now in my case, I go and work for someone, right? I'm in most of your cases as well. But if you become an entrepreneur, you create your own destiny. You do what you like to do, your hobbies, your passion, right? You can excel in that, and you make a difference. You create employment for others. You know what your full potential is. Now, when you're working for somebody, sometimes your potential is underutilized, not fully taken. And also you're rewarded with profits. Now we are working for somebody, for an employer, so we get just a wage or a salary. But if you become an entrepreneur, you're rewarded with profits. And also you contribute to the society and to the and to be recognized for your efforts. And also, more importantly, you do what you enjoy and to have fun at it. So these are some of the opportunities that you get as an entrepreneur. So policies should integrate gender, sustainability, ethics, incentives, especially for women, can encourage sustainable practices. So land rights for women are particularly important in the Sri Lankan context. And also capacity building must be continuous, not just one-off workshop for photo opportunities for fundraising purposes. We in academia have a unique role in bridging theory and practice through context-specific and policy-relevant research, highlighting how the gender biasness in existing policies discourage and prevent women from not only achieving their potential, but also contributing to the economy. So universities can also act as innovation hubs and training centers, have incubator organizations. Empowerment is not just a single intervention, it's a process. Each stage reinforces the other. So, the central message that I want to give you is sustainability without ethics can be shallow, and ethics without economic viability is impractical. We need integration. Women are central to transforming agriculture. Ethical and sustainable frameworks are not optional, they are necessary. So Sri Lanka has a unique opportunity to lead given its cultural context. In conclusion, let me now wrap up. I think I don't know whether I have taken more than 45 minutes. Yes. Let me just quote by Sarah Blakely, founder of Spanax, the shapewear garment company. So what she says is, believe in your idea, trust your instinct, and don't be afraid to fail. It took me 2 years from the time I had the idea for Spanax until the time I had a product in hand ready to sell into stores. So I must have heard the word no 1,000 times. If you believe in your idea 100%, don't let anyone stop you. Not being afraid to fail is a key part of the success of Spanax. So I hope you have have questions or taken down or jotted down some notes and things that you want to get clarified. So I'm ready for questions, and thank you.
Thank you very much, Professor, for that interesting presentation. So now the floor is open for the audience to ask any questions, and we have received few questions as well, and also a comment.
Yes, please.
The first question that we have received is how can women entrepreneurs build strong market linkages and branding for eco-friendly agricultural products?
Yeah. So And the best example that I've shown is Gina Jaikanti. Now, she's into agriculture, right? So rather than just first thinking, going big, you can, start very small and then develop your product and then, you know, um, get good feedback from people. And based on the feedback, you can develop your product and then popularize mm, um, and, popularize in the sense, by getting a good feedback. You can by developing, and then people, I mean, the feedback you get from the people itself. So that itself is actually branding is not that something like, spend a lot of money and do your marketing and just straight away you just try to have your linkages, right? But even initially you can be even a subsidiary for like big companies like Haley's and CIC, even local companies. And so first you should build your name slowly and steadily. And then once you're popular, when you have a quality product and, you have a huge market and the brand is just there. Isn't anything to like, build. That will automatically will be built if your product is quality and if you just give what people need, right? And as I've said, if you're like, if you're giving something that your competitors are not giving, right? That is where we call that you should always think, okay, what is my unique selling proposition in my product? What is the uniqueness in my product? How can I be different to others? So once you do that, people will automatically embrace. So first you have to do not what you want to give, but you have to identify what people need. So best thing is to start off very slow, right? With the available resources, slowly build up your products quality, and that itself, branding will automatically come.
Thank you very much. And we have received another question, that is, how can women entrepreneurs balance business responsibilities with social and family expectations without compromising growth?
Yes, it's not, especially with our cultural context, it's not easy because the society, even your extended family itself, expect a lot from the mother. So whether you may be the vice chancellor, you may be the president of the country, it doesn't matter. But there are certain roles that you have to play as a woman. So you have a lot of responsibilities. I mean, this is something very cultural. I think in a way, women are also to be blamed for that. Now, when we raise our children, we, especially make a huge distinction between the boys and the girls. And then there is a lot of dependency of males towards the females. So at home, if you take culturally, everyone expects, or even though they don't tell, maybe when they go outside, they say, oh, I'm helping my, wife and, but maybe when they are like, helping 1%, the woman is doing 99%. So it's not easy, but you need to balance, you have to manage your time. You have to balance not only your family and business, but even your finances. So this is all about, I think women are really endured and they have the capacity to do that. But we have less support services, but you can slowly change this too. So it's all about your managing your resources, managing your time, and also trying to make your family members aware what you are doing, and getting their support as well, get the whole extended family support, your neighbors, relatives support. So that's, I suppose, how you can manage family and business. I think in Sri Lanka, whatever said, and then all of us are just going through, you don't have to do a business. That is why we say, okay, women work in the morning. I always say, okay, I work in the morning, go to work and come back again work. So වැඩ කරලා වැඩට එන මිනිස්සු නෙමෙයි, වැඩ කරලා වැඩට ගිහිල්ලා ආයෙත් වැඩට එනවා. So that's this is something cultural, but I'm sure this is changing little by little. And women have a huge responsibility to change this when they raise their children. So maybe in the audience, there are a lot of young ones. So you have to make sure, you should not get, okay, you're a girl, or these are your house chores, you are supposed to learn these things. So all the time what we say is, oh, you're a girl, so you should know how to cook, you should know how to do this, that. So that automatically the women creates this, the disparity, the distinction. We should not do that. So as long as we don't do that, I think in time to come, we can get more support, and there can be equality. I mean, equality in the sense, not like, what I'm saying is, both parties, male, female, if everyone supports in our work, then it will be very easy for us to manage.
And there's quite a big comment and a question from Mr. Rani Labevadana. The first one is, irrespective of gender, the Sri Lankan farmers do not yield the expected harvest in agriculture, and in addition, the high input cost deprives them the deserved profits. This has demotivated the new generation coming into agriculture. Please explain how issue could be resolved to make agriculture and demanding businesses this issue to be. And there's another question. There's another point.
So what is...
Yeah.
Okay.
Shall I tell all three?
So let me answer that. Or maybe someone in the audience also can support. So I think, as I've understood, the first question is whether you're a woman or a man, the productivity of agriculture is less. That is what he said?
Sometimes. Yes.
So how? Yes. Again, this is a very inherent problem where maybe 70% of the population is involved in agriculture, but the contribution to the GDP is like, less than 8%. So I think maybe it has to come from...
Of this, what he says is that the new generation won't come to agriculture because of this.
Oh, definitely. Yes. Because maybe we still involved in a lot of manual methods, and as a result, manual methods, it's heavily raining, so I hope you can hear me. And
yeah, we can hear you very
so
clearly.
We have to, of course, go with maybe invest in technology, research and development, hybrid varieties. So there are a lot of things that we have to do. And otherwise we'll be like, lag behind, and we are already lagging behind, and still we have not identified the good markets, the distribution methods, and then there are a lot of post-harvest losses. And so there are various inherent issues. So all these things have to be addressed to overcome this problem. Yes.
Yeah, madam, in the presentation also you expressed that this is basically, there's a problem with the process as well, because this is empowering is not only a single thing, but it's a process that at the moment locally, I mean, in Sri Lankan context, this process, there's a problem, right, entirely, right? And where we are not technocritic. And the second question of him is, how could a women entrepreneur approach export market? What are the formalities established in Sri Lanka for women or men who are interested in export agriculture to reach out? How to go for the export
question.
market?
Yes. Right. So as I've said, you first start slow, small. And then once you build your product, I mean, there are a lot of institutions. You can go to the Export Development Board, and, you can find out the markets, what those markets exactly need. What are their, like, shapes, the colors, the quality aspects. So all that, there are a lot of entrepreneurial, women chambers. So you, of course, presently, you have access to a lot of institutions. You can get advice, guidance through these things. Of course, there are still issues in registration and all that. as not only in entrepreneurship, in many government organizations, just we go through all these issues. But best thing, if someone wants to export, you go to the Export Development Board, first get, guidance. And then there's Women Chamber of Commerce, then there's Ceylon Chamber of Commerce, and then many chambers where they are willing to, and there are a lot of NGOs. So you can get actually a lot of information from these things. And also in today's context, you have access to technology, social media. From those things also you can get heap of information. And then also maybe if you can find agents in other countries, right? So there are, like, that is also an easy way out rather than just going into to the export market straight away. You can still go through an agent.
Thank you very much. And there's a third question that he says, how do you think women could replace the male-centered processes involved in agriculture, such as tilting the land, heavy lifting, handling heavy machines, machine repairs, transportation, etc.?
You don't have to replace. Let them do it. Right?
Yeah,
Why do you have to
actually,
replace?
yeah.
There are biologically, there are certain things. We are not talking here, we are not talking about, like, equality, right? So, I mean, a man can bear a child, right? So let women do that. I mean, there are, certain activities biologically what we are capable of. So I mean, you should not get mixed up with that. So tilting, all that, of course, today, I mean, manually, if you can do it, because men are stronger biologically, so let them do it. That is why I said this is not just like, there has to be support, right? From, it is not like, women are doing it, men are doing it. We are not talking about that. It's everyone has to contribute, coordinate. And also most of these things, of course, in today's context, you can do it through technology, machinery, well, which it's costly. But then if you want to do it manually, let men do it, what they can do. Women should do what they are capable of doing. So you should not mix up the roles. Just because you are a woman entrepreneur does not mean that you have to do, wind power boiling, plowing and all, tilting and all that. You don't have to do.
And also it's about management, how you manage, you can get people and everything, right? Yeah. And the focus is totally, it's not about replacing. Our topic is about empowering women entrepreneurs, because there's a serious problem in the local context, as Professor explained, like we are not contributing enough for the GDP, although we are educated highly, right? 62%.
Maybe there's a man here. Dr. Hevageni is here. Will he be able to tell something? He must be having some interesting ideas to answer Anil's questions. What do you say?
I'm learning how to tilt these days.
He's one of my friends, and also he's one of your students, madam. In a long time back, in one of the MBAs at Japura. And also we've got another question from Miss Malkanti. First of all, thanks a lot for the highly important and timely presentation. If there are good markets, a significant number of women are ready to do quality products. Finding local and international context is a difficult problem.
Sorry, last part I didn't.
Yeah, what she says is, if there are good markets, a significant number of women are ready to do quality products. Finding local and international context is difficult problem.
Yes, Tiran, you wanted to say something?
Regarding this question?
Yes, I thought you wanted to say something about the markets. We have a market closer to the university.
I think the markets usually the misconception that a lot of people have, the way I understand these things, is that you have to have a market to market your product. Usually that is not the case. You should have the product, and then the product creates the market. That's how a lot of these successful products came into market, and they became international icons, basically. And then people end up thinking that they have to have, this, or they cannot go beyond a certain point without this particular product. And in order to do that, that is where that uniqueness of your product comes in. The consumers should be able to identify, separate your product from the others, and they should see the difference. And the market basically creates. Now, if you think about existing market, and then you are trying to supply to that market, then what happens is you have a lot of competitors in there, because that's an existing market already. Whereas if you come up with a unique product and you become the market leader, basically you create your own market. And then whoever comes after you will have to compete with you, or will have to beat you. But you have the authority to control the market through your product. So it's like this. For example, if you are supplying cinnamon to let's say you want to try, export cinnamon, then you still have to cater to the existing market. Whereas if you come up with a product, added product with cinnamon, which is not there in the market now it is yours. Now you create the market for that. So therefore, I don't know, finding the market, how do you find the market type of thing is not going to come up as a big question within the entrepreneurship. The entrepreneur itself, the word itself has that meaning where you create, you have the creativity and you create something new. You come up with something new, and therefore the market will be created by you, basically, most of the time.
That if you want to find markets, I mean, it's just at your fingertips. Today, I mean, you don't have to go here and there. So you have your products, and maybe you have seen so many people just selling things online. And once you can show, you can explain your contents, everything. And then once people are happy with the products, it's the word of mouth. So that's the market, right? That just spreads. So not like those days where you have to go and do paper advertisements or anything, but you can today with your, whatever you do at home, you can just tell the whole world about your product. So that itself is a market. And also if you want to very formally go and sell your things, maybe there are supermarket chains, but then that's very cumbersome, huge process. You have to go through, a middleman. So there are supermarket chains as well. So you can, you have a lot of access to these things if your products are good and quality.
Thank you very much, Professor Weerawansa and Dr. Thilan, for that interesting answers. And do you have any other questions? You can switch on the mic and also speak, or else you can send to the chat box.
This is just a question to Professor Shashi, that if we are to, now we are talking about empowering.
Can you speak a little louder? Can't hear anything.
Oh, sorry. We are talking about empowering women entrepreneurs. But if you think about empowering women in terms of, let's say, university students, to think of becoming an entrepreneur, since that is our business, basically, we are entrepreneurs in in the universities, basically guiding the students. In that sense, what would you say that what can we do in terms of empowering the female students to think in terms of not just looking for a job after your degree, but becoming an entrepreneur in the sense that, start thinking right from your student days, and then right after graduation, can I do something on my own?
So I think I vaguely heard your question. So what we can do? So as lecturers, of course, in arts faculties, of course, we have maybe 80-90% of females. So all what we can do is we give them the confidence, right? You can do it. You need to believe in yourself. That's all you have to do. You have to give them the right confidence. You have to, of course, develop certain skills, their personality, and also once you give that confidence, I'm sure they're all right.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you very much, Professor. Thank you. We have not received any other questions, so with the interest of time, we will finish this session today. So it's a very insightful session. So as the Secretary of the Section B of SLAS, it is my honor to extend our sincere gratitude to our distinguished resource person, Professor Shashithanganee Weerawansa, for sharing her valuable knowledge, expertise, and insightful perspectives on empowering women entrepreneurs and promoting ethical and sustainable agricultural business. I would also like to express our special appreciation to our President, Dr. Madhusha Sudhasinghe, for her leadership and dedication in organizing and guiding this program. Our sincere thanks are extended to the President and the Council of SLAS for their continued leadership, vision, and unwavering support in promoting scientific advancement and professional engagement. Finally, I would like to thank that all our valued participants for their active presence and engagement, which greatly contributed to the success of this webinar. Thank you once again. We look forward to your continued participation in our future programs. Thank you very much and good night.
Thank you. Thank you.